Welcome to Smells Like Smoke. My name is Trevor. I'm your host for this podcast where we talk about what it looks like to rescue people from the flames of judgment. It's really how do we practically help people find hope and redemption in Jesus. So let me start with a picture that every guy understands. Maybe you're a little tired right now in life. Maybe you're a little hot in life. You're a little thirsty. You look up and you see clouds rolling in, like dark clouds, heavy clouds, the kind that look like relief. And you think finally rain is coming. Something's about to shift, but it never does. The clouds pass, the ground stays dry, and you're still thirsty. Like I live in Tucson, Arizona. We live in the desert. And can I tell you, like there's moments where you see the monsoon clouds and you're like, finally, we're going to get relief from this heat, this desert. And then it just goes around you. See, that image matters more than you and I think. Because Jude, which is the book that this entire podcast is based off, Jude 23, actually, that verse. Because Jude uses the exact picture to describe something really dangerous. He calls it clouds without rain, is what he calls it. Things that promise life, but never deliver it. And if you're not careful, you can spend your entire life chasing clouds. So why does this matter? Well, this matters because disappointment is exhausting. That's why it matters. Not the disappointment of failure, the disappointment of believing that something would finally satisfy you and it doesn't. Men, can I just speak to you? You're not just tired. I think you might be disillusioned because we chase the thing. We reach the goal. We get the promotion. We hit the milestone and we're still thirsty. And the danger is not that men stop believing in God. The danger is that they start to believe in counterfeits instead of God. Like that's Jude's metaphor in plain language. Like Jude doesn't pull punches in this little book. By the way, if you've not read Jude, go read it. It's literally one chapter. It's right before Revelation. And he describes false hope as these different things like clouds without rain, trees without fruit, wild waves of the sea, wandering stars. In other words, things that look promising, but are unreliable. See, clouds without rain look like relief, but bring none. Trees without fruit take up space, but feed no one. Wild waves make noise, but they lead nowhere. So Jude is saying this: not everything that looks alive actually gives life. Let me say that again. Not everything that looks alive actually gives life. And not everything that promises fulfillment actually delivers it. I think we have to grab that. So men, why do we chase counterfeits? Well, let's be honest. We chase things that promise relief. Relief from pressure, relief from boredom, relief from pain, relief from emptiness. Counterfeits are attractive because they offer fast results. They're like spiritual fast food. And they promise things like control and escape and identity and significance. And we want all of those things. And they do it without demanding surrender. It's a quick fix. And that's the catch. False hope in our culture, it's what keeps us coming back. Like, let's name a few clouds that men chase. Like, let's get real practical. Success. We usually don't see that as a false cloud, but we chase it and yet we're not fulfilled. It promises meaning and respect and security, but it never tells you what to do when you arrive and still feel empty. Or how about pleasure? It promises escape too, but it always demands more and delivers less. Let me say that again. Pleasure always demands more, but it delivers less. And then there's power. It promises control. But it never quiets fear. It never does that. Or how about this one, politics? Isn't it funny? Politics promises salvation, but it can't heal the human heart. That's why we get so spun up when politics don't go the way we think they should. Or how about self-help? It promises improvement, but it can't transform the soul. You can't transform your own soul. Now, these things are not always evil, but they are terrible saviors. They were never meant to carry the weight we put on them because they're false summits. They're rain clouds. I think about the city I live in here in Tucson. I've sat with multiple men in Tucson who did everything right. They've built the life, they've played the game, they checked the boxes. And yet, every time I talked to them, they said some version of this. I thought this would feel different. I thought I would be in a better place mentally, emotionally. See, that sentence is everywhere. It shows up in boardrooms. It shows up in garages. It shows up in prison cells because clouds without rain always disappoint. I'm going to say it again. Clouds without rain always disappoint in life. So why are counterfeits dangerous? Here's what makes counterfeits dangerous. They don't look evil. They actually look reasonable. They promise just enough to keep you chasing, but never enough to satisfy. And over time, they train your heart to expect fulfillment from the wrong source. See, that's spiritual dehydration. You keep drinking, but you stay thirsty. You're drinking the wrong thing. So how to test what you're chasing? How do you test what you're chasing? So let's get practical. How do you actually know if something is a cloud without rain? I want to give you a few tests. Really painstakingly practical. First, ask yourself what it promises. What do you believe this thing will give you? Like seriously, ask that question honestly. The thing that you're chasing, what is it going to give you? Here's the second thing. Ask what it requires. Does it demand surrender or consumption? Because if it's not surrender, you're just a consumer. And then the third thing, ask what it produces. Does it bring you peace or does it bring you more anxiety? Does it bring you freedom or does it bring you bondage? Does it bring you wholeness or do you still feel fragmented? And then fourth, you got to ask what happens when it fails. Does it lead you back to hope or does it lead you to deeper despair? See, fruit tells the truth. Hype tells lies. Let me say it again. Fruit tells the truth. Hope lies. So men, we've got to be more discerning. See, men respect results. So here's the question. What has actually delivered in your life? Not what looked good, not what sounded convincing, not those things. What has truly brought life? See, discerning men stop chasing appearances and we start evaluating outcomes. That's maturity. So why was Jesus different? Here's what separates Jesus from every counterfeit. Jesus doesn't promise an easy life. He actually promises a full one, but not an easy one. He doesn't offer control. He offers freedom. He doesn't numb pain. He redeems your pain. See, Jesus never overpromises and underdelivers. He delivers exactly what he says. And you know what that is? That's life. That's hope. That's restoration. That's what Jesus' deliverance is. And he does it from the inside out. So let's have a big moment of honesty. Let me ask you something personal. What are you chasing right now? What is the thing? What do you believe will finally make you feel whole? And I want you to be honest because the most dangerous lies are the ones we never question. We just take everything at face value. So here's something really practical. Stop chasing and start testing. That's the shift. Stop chasing the next thing. Start testing the current one. Look at your calendar. Look at your energy. Look at your obsessions. They reveal what you're trusting. And trust determines direction. What you trust determines your direction. So what does this mean for your rescue? Well, this matters for rescue work because you cannot point people to living water if you're drinking salt water. See, men who recognize counterfeits in their own lives become guides for others, not lecturers, witnesses. They speak from experience, not from theory. So see, this is the hope. The hope is that you don't have to keep chasing clouds. There's real water. There's real fruit. There's real life that you get to chase after. And it's not found by trying harder. It's found by trusting deeper. Jesus offers living water, and living water actually satisfies. So here's my closing challenge on this week's episode. Just one challenge this week. I want you to identify one thing that you're chasing that is not delivered. And I want you to name it. Say it out loud. Test it. Go through those things we talked about a few minutes ago. Be honest about its fruit. And then take one step away from the counterfeit and one step towards what actually gives life. Because not everything that promises life delivers life. See, this smells like smoke. And we're learning how to spot the fakes so we can lead people to what is real. You can't lead people to something that's not real. So next episode, we're going to talk about why success is a terrible savior and why winning can still cost you your soul. So this week, test the fruit, trust what delivers, and let's stay close to the fire. This Smells Like Smoke. And I hope you enjoy this podcast. Do me a favor, if you would, if you like this, review it, share it, put it out there for someone else. We don't ask you to pay for any kind of subscription to be a part of our content. We just ask that you would share this with one other person that you think might need to stop chasing clouds and chase Jesus. So again, this Smells Like Smoke. Follow along, be a part, stay close to the fire, and we'll be back next week.